Hi guys, this is day 2 of the 21-day reading challenge. Today we'll be reading the book uh, called Work Smarter, Not Harder. So it's basically by the author Timo Kane, and so this is actually like kind of summary of the previous book we read. Like we did not read fully, but he also read the Getting Things Done. So it's kind of like brief or like in short for all the tips and tricks. So today we'll be starting with the chapter 1. First, have a powerful start of your day. To be Very often we claim to be too busy, especially okay especially when it comes to taking care of ourselves. It seems that our lives are filled by the demands of other people's, and unfortunately we tend to put off the time of the me time. That is true, until someday in the future. But did you know that there is certain part of the day which can give you the personal time you need? This time is morning time. By learning to get up earlier, you can add more flexibility to your morning and enjoy a better start of your day. And I have started doing this. So it's been 2 days, okay, 3 days. I'm going to gym and I've started waking up early. I'm actually a morning person, but it's tough for me to wake up in the morning. But yeah, I try. So I'm waking up nearly at 6 from the past 3 days. So by learning to get up earlier, you can add more flexibility to your morning and enjoy a better start of your day. So how do you get up earlier then? Well, it starts with a decision. That's true. Following by a target time and commitment to your plan. For instance, you could set an objective to get up 30 minutes earlier than what you currently do. But rather than switching to this new wake up time all at once, make this change in smaller increments. At the same time, commit to this change by being consistent with your new wake up schedule. In other words, keep executing your new wake up plan every day. So the way I did it, basically I need an external motivation. So what I did is I joined a gym and I go for gym in the morning. So in that way I have to wake up early. There's no choice. So, and I do like to go at gym in the morning. I can go in the evening too, but I like to go in the morning. Okay. So, Stephanie Stephanie Silberman, author of the Insomnia Workbook, recommends changing your sleep cycles in 15 minutes increments at an increment at a time for 3-4 nights. Once you are comfortable with the small changes, make another adjustment to your wake up time. When you switch to earlier wake ups, there is still one point that you have to pay attention to: the time you go to bed. That is very important. The time you go bed, because sometimes I want to wake up early, but I could not because I had gone late to the bed. Otherwise, you end up making the same mistakes uh, I did. Even if I woke up early, I did not change my bed going time accordingly, and this made me sleep deprived of his zombie. I need to change the color settings and accessibility and okay. Hmm. It's easier to know when to hit the bed when you know how much sleep you approximately need. For instance, in my case, if I know that if I want to get up refreshed at 6:45 a.m., I'll have to go to the bed around 11 p.m. to get enough sleep. Once you have successfully adopted this new schedule, uh, both going to bed earlier and waking up earlier, take full advantage of your new found me time by investing in yourself. For instance, you could meditate, read a self-help book, exercise, write, and build your business. So what I'm doing currently, I'm exercising and I also read a self-help book, which I'm currently doing. And I have thought of writing. So I do write, but I have started writing my own schedule for the day in the morning. I have not much executed all the schedule, but and I'm lacking behind this habit, but I have to make this habit. So I'll be out of these five, I'll be getting done three activities: reading self-help book, which is I'm doing right now; exercise. I go, and the first thing I do in the morning is exercise. Second thing I do is self-read, like get fresh and eat food, and then I read the self-help book, and then I do my writing. So, one thing that can be great factor in deciding how you spend your time in the morning is to know the goal you are trying to reach. Nice. Then dedicate most of your early morning hours to this activity. Okay, so what are my goals? So currently, one of my goals is achieved, that I've got the job that I was looking for, but I'm still trying for a better opportunity. So there's one goal is try for like Amazon or Google something. Second is I want to do something creative, and one thing that I'm trying to currently trying is the music production. So I need to do music production. So, and third thing is I need to build a business. So I think third will take time. It's not easy. So I have to, for that I'm learning all this stuff like my financial education, my self-help books. So third will is a like larger, and all these three. So like the first goal is not that long term, but the second and third, and especially the third, like building a business and becoming an investor. So that's a pretty big goal. So that would take for a little bit time, but second should take me. It's also a big goal, but it should take me like I should have work on this now. So it should take me like a year to become good at it, but I'm trying. So these are my three goals. So why I'm doing this is basically just I'm reminding myself what I'm talking about. So I'm reminding my goals that I have. So one thing that can be a great factor in deciding how you spend your time in the morning is to know the goal you are trying to reach. Then dedicate most of your early morning hours to this activity. For instance, when I was working a day job, one of the goals I was to pass a certification exam related to my job. So also one thing I tell you that this guy is also an engineer, I guess. So he does programming too. So I can relate with him. So I spent my early morning studying for the exam, which I eventually passed. Or when my focus was on racing marathons and triathlons, I made sure to exercise before hitting the office. In my personal experience, these early morning sessions are the major factor why I have achieved a lot in my life. I'm fit. I'm a published author. I have built a following on my blog to thousands. You can take advantage of these early hours too to get closer to your goals and dreams. We are on the second chapter. Is under like these are some 18 points that he's trying to make. So the first point was basically getting a good start, which I'm currently doing and I wanted to do for my whole life. And the second point is trying to make is understand your optimal working rhythm. Whether you work in an office for yourself or for someone else, you really just go to work and sit there for 8 consecutive hours and then go home. Working like this is inefficient, ineffective, and just plain dangerous. Yeah, that is. To improve your focus and effectiveness, try to find an optimum working style. One that suits you the best. There are few ways to do this listed below. Pomodoro techniques. This popular technique breaks the work session into 25 minutes chunks. One 25 minutes one 25-minute session is equals to one Pomodoro. While taking a 5-minute breaks between session, once you have completed 4 Pomodoro, that is 4 hours 90 minutes session plus 5-minute breaks, you can take a 15 to 30-minute breaks. This is first technique is Pomodoro technique. Break your chunks in 25 minutes and take a 5-minute breaks, and then after you have 4 Pomodoro chunks or like 4 25 minutes sessions, then you can take a 15-minute and 30-minute breaks. Second technique is 90-minute intervals. So our bodies work in 90-minute cycles, whether we are asleep or we are awake. This is what sleep researcher Nathan Klitman found in his studies decades ago. These 90 minutes intervals are the peak time of our focus and productivity, followed by a lower energy phase of 20 minutes. To respect this natural rhythm inside us, work in 90 minutes block. Okay, so Pomodoro also gets 90 because 25, 25, 25, 25. So it's 4 times. Oh no, it's not 90. It's 4 times 25. It's 100. Okay. Uh, to respect this natural rhythm inside us, work in 90-minute blocks, followed by a 20-minute break. 52-17. Okay. So what this 90 minutes says that you should work for 90 minutes straight and then get a 20-minute break. Okay. This is the second technique. So 90 minutes is basically like 1.5 hours. The second technique is 52-17. A study conducted by the Trogium group with the help of Desk Time, an app for tracing one's work habits, found out that the ideal work length slash break rate ratio for the most productive people was 52-17. Okay, so this was an app. They analyzed that data, and app, I guess, so the people who are on the top with on the productivity scale, they had a 52 to 17 minute ratio. In other words, after working for 52 minutes, the people take a 17-minute break. This is like really odd numbers, but yeah. This result was based on analysis of the top 10% of most productive employees. 52 minutes and then 17-minute breaks. Okay, cool. The third is your personal one. So whatever you feel like. So if any of the previous model did not fit your style of working, define your own schedule. After all, what really matters the most is that you can focus on right tasks and make progress on them. Before I conclude this session, there is still two things to remember regarding your work block length. First, you want to make sure you actually do something energizing when you take a break between your working session. For more ideas on the what to do during the breaks, see tip 11 in the book. Okay, we will be reading that in the future. So all the strategies listed in this tip assumes that you use a timer. This way, you know when to take a break and get up from your computer. The timer I have used is called Groove Otter, and it has worked well for me. Okay, so now where I have I did actually know these the Pomodoro technique. I already knew about that from a video, but the problem I face is like when I'm doing something, so then I don't look at time. So then I do for it like straight 3, 4, 5 hours. So suppose like if I'm doing music production, then I don't like, but I should. But I feel like I should give me a break after 20 minutes. But then I like if I'm in the mood, then I'll go and do that till 3, 4 hours after it's done. While in case of studies, when I'm bored, so I'll not able to even sit for 10 minutes. But I'll try to implement that. So this is a Groove Otter he is talking about. Cool, we'll say that. So now we are on the third tip. Keep distraction at bay. So first it was getting your start better. Second was time. So when you start doing something, you use some kind of technique well defined. So there's two major that I liked was Pomodoro and then there's a 90 minutes. So I think 90 minutes is pretty cool. Like I can start a 90-minute schedule and then take a break for 20 minutes. And so second was understanding your optimal working rhythm. So there's a rhythm. Third is keep distractions at bay. So that's okay. So distractions are all around us, and if you are not careful, they could ruin your whole work day. That's why it's important to protect your precious hours, so that you can actually work on the things you plan to do. There are three types of distractions you could be exposed to during your workday: communication tools, other people's internal distractions. So currently, as a student, I have a distraction is internal distraction. It's like other people's are not that much distract that much, but then these tools which are like apps and phone communication tool like mobile phone. That's it. So these are the two major distractions for me right now. Next, let's go through these distraction type in more details. So, communication tools. Communication tools are things like the internet, email, phone, instant messaging, and social media. Although they are part of the modern workday and their purpose might be good, they can also be huge source of distraction. That is true because they tell you so much. So, like if I have a class or not, what I need to do. So they tell me a lot, but they are distracting at the same time. So, but if we do in the morning, everything in the morning, then morning there are not much tasks or not much distractions in the morning. So, to begin controlling your communication distractions, you have to set clear boundaries. You have to set clear boundaries. You have set clear boundaries. For instance, set 2 or 3 time windows with a length of 15 to 30 minutes per day when you handle all the communication related tasks at once, whether it's call, checking your emails, or interacting on social media. When the predetermined time has passed, close your client application, email, social media, or instant messaging, anything, and open them again only when the next predetermined time window comes. Cool. Keep your phone muted while you work. That I do. Also, of course, setting strict boundaries when you handle all the communication might not work for everyone. This depends naturally on the work you do. Okay, I could do this, but like I'm a student, so second is other people. Another source of distraction is people who you work with. If you work from home, one interruptions could be caused by family members, and if you work at the office, it could be your colleagues. To control this kind of distraction, you can do three things. Like I'll do just put my headphones, make do not disturb requests, or change your location, engage in random tricks. If the first way is to kindly let the other people in the office know that you are should be able to concentrate on your task, but you cannot since the current noise is preventing you from doing this. If you have made this nice request a couple of times but hasn't had any effect on your working conditions, you can always take it to your boss. Perhaps he or she can help you pacify pacify the situation. Pacify and you to solve the situation. Quell the anger, agitation, or excellent excitement of to help to brings peace. Okay, to help can help to peace the situation. Bring peace to being threatened. So, if you are working from home, talk to your family members and let them know that you are doing focused work at certain hours. You could also leave a note on the refrigerator door reminding them about your working hours and when you shouldn't be disturbed. The second way to deal with the distraction is by changing the work location entirely. If you work at an office and want full concentration on your task, you could book a meeting room for your assignments. Then again, nothing prevents you to take this advice even further. For instance, you could leave the office temporarily to do work elsewhere if this is okay with your boss. If there is no meeting room available, understand that sometimes productive work doesn't always require an office desk, but it can also be done in a coffee shop, in a public library, outside in nature if weather permits. So, if you decide to leave the office to do your work elsewhere, make sure the communication with your colleagues or family members first. Then, first that you are working outside to your regular work environment. This way, they know how to contact you in case of an emergency. Finally, there are certain tricks that you can try if nothing else works. First, you could buy some noise isolation headphones to block the noise around you, and even if it does not listen to anything, if you does not don't listen to anything through those headphones, there is another surprising benefit to this. People leave you alone because they think you are working. In fact, you can achieve the same effect even with regular headphones, so no expensive investment is needed. I experienced this effect when I was working in a cubicle. Since the company I worked for took advantage of virtual meetings as much as possible, this meant that you participated in majority of meetings by sitting in your own workspace with your headphones on. Eventually, people learned that a person with headphones on was most likely to be in a meeting. so he or she shouldn't be disturbed. Obviously, I took advantage of this association even if I wasn't participating in a virtual meeting. So just putting my headphones on was a signal to others not to disturb me. You could also send a clear signal to your colleagues by putting do not disturb sign in your workspace or to your office door when you want full focus on your work. Finally, if you have to do your work at the office and you cannot find any other way to work with full concentration, simply show up to the office earlier than others. I tried this option a couple of times and it really made a difference to my focus. Thanks to my positive experience with this strategy, I applied it every time I had to get some important work done. Now, talking about internal distraction. So, there is also another type of ये क्या हो गया? There is also another type of distraction that makes us go off track, and that's internal distraction that happens a lot with me. Internal distraction is basically the thoughts and the ideas that interrupt or whatever that inputs us whenever we are trying to do productive work. First of all, the battle of internal distraction. Try to ensure that you get enough sleep. The sleepier you feel, the easier it is for your thoughts to start to wander. Then implement a distraction list habits in your daily work. Implement a distraction list habit in your daily work. The distraction list is nothing more than just a piece of paper that sits on your desk. Then, whenever you come across a new idea or thought you that you want to remember later on, just write it down. So, this is the same strategy that the book Getting Things Done also says that you should always put everything that is in your mind in a note. You should write down everything in your mind so that you don't have to think it again. Like you don't have to keep it in mind. So that's very distractful. So that is very important. So once the work day is over, process the paper either by taking care of the items on at once or by scheduling them to your task list for later date. Okay, now we are on the chapter 4, which is never start your day unplanned. Okay, I need to do this also. So let's take a 5-minute break. So it's been 22 minutes 35 seconds. So I can read 4 chapter 2. It's not big. Okay, fifth is very small. So that's 4 and 5, and I'll then revise that. So fourth is never start your day unplanned. So this is the major problem with me. I have my majority of my days are unplanned. I'm trying to build this habit, so this should be solved. Implement a habit planning. Implement a habit of planning your day in advance. This way, you know exactly what you should be focusing on when your work day starts. Also, you don't have to operate from memory. That is also important since all the necessary tasks are laid out in front of you. I have to admit that making a daily task list has been one of the biggest improvement to my productive day. Since I know the tasks I should be doing, I don't waste my time on unessential stuff. To get started with this new habit, just pick a piece of paper or choose a task list or choose a task list program for storing your task list. Then write down the three important tasks for next day and prioritize them to the beginning of the workday. Also, add some lower priority tasks to your list too to make sure you make progress on every level, not just on those important tasks. Once you have pegged the tasks you are going to do something, do some necessary prep work related to them. For instance, you could make sure that all the documents are easily accessible the next day when you start working. Or if you are about to write something, you could plan the outline of that day. Outline the day before. With this extra step, you can get started with your task much quicker. Besides, you can focus on working on your assignments instead of wasting time finding the necessary material or item you need. So there's a point that you should uh, necessary prep work. Once you have picked the task, uh, write down. Okay, okay. With this extra step, you can get started with your tasks much quicker. Besides, you can focus on working on your assignments instead of wasting time finding the necessary materials or items you need. There is still two other things you could do to make sure your task and list is as effective as possible. First, make your list closed. That is what Mark Foster, the author of Do It Tomorrow, suggests in his book. A closed task list means that you decide not to add any more tasks to your list. Even if you something new comes up in the middle of the day, to make the list as close as this, that is required is to draw a solid line under the last item of the task. Okay. However, if you have an open list, you end up clearing tasks off your list while adding some new ones to it as the day goes by. Not only you make it harder to get all the tasks clear off by the end of the day, this practice is also demotivating. No matter how hard you work, the number of tasks never decreases. And sometimes you even end up with more tasks on your list. Okay, that's a really solid point. It does happen with me. I have never read that again before. So basically, the idea is you should make a closed list. So before when you start with the day, there might be some tasks that has to be done that are critical to do at that same day. But like if you have already planned your day and you are not like if you have a habit of planning your day, so you know what your tasks need to do. So that's important, and you should always make a closed list. That is very very important. And just to make a closed list you should just mark underline and you don't so that you don't add much tasks to for on the same day, because then you'll be just adding tasks and deleting tasks and adding tasks and deleting, and that will not motivate you further that you achieved something, because you are on the same level that you started. So you if you started with 5 tasks and you've done 5 tasks and you again added 5 tasks, you end up sleeping with 5 tasks incomplete. So you should be planning these tasks for the next day. That is a very important point. Drawing a physical line after the last task work fine. Task works of the last task. Drawing a physical line after the last task works fine with a paper-based task list. However, with a task list application, you have to make this line virtual. In other words, you make a decision not to add any more tasks in your list in the middle of the workday. The second thing is to become pessimist. What does pessimist mean? When your tasks are concerned, pessimist is a tendency to see the worst aspects of things or believe that the worst will happen. Second thing is to become a pessimist when your tasks are concerned. Oh, so you should feel like if you do not do this task, something bad will happen. For instance, if I am very positive and optimistic person by nature, but a bit of pessimistic helps me with my task list planning for the next day. Okay, tendency of see the worst things or believe that what worst will happen. A lack of hope or confidence in the future. Okay, so basically you prioritize your task in such a way that you don't know there will be any future or not. So you do the best you can do at that day. That's what I'm guessing getting from this. Uh, the dispute cast on an air of the deep pessimist over the future. It shows the pessimist meaning is a tendency to see the worst aspect of things or believe that the worst will happen, a lack of hope or confidence in the future. The second thing is want help with challenging words. Wordwise helps young reader or readers learning English by explaining the most challenging words in the book. To make clear, okay, tap on the word and see definition, similar works, and more. Would you like to turn word-wise on for compatible books? Turn word-wise on. Is it on? Pessimist. Wikipedia. Translation. Word-wise तो मिला नहीं यार. अच्छा डाउनलोड कर रहा है. 1 second, I need to connect my Wi-Fi then. All settings, wireless, Wi-Fi networks, Young Dagger Deck. Wordwise, downloading Wordwise. Till then, we'll read this. So, the second thing, but the second thing is to become pessimist when you, oh shit. Compact. Oh, okay. Nice. This is nice. For instance, you could make sure become pessimist when your tasks are concerned. As I'm always for instance, mhm, okay, become that's this is really good. Okay, so the second thing is to become a pessimist. What is pessimist? Is one who accepts the worst, expects the worst when your tasks are concerned. For instance, I'm a very positive and optimistic person, showing hope for the future by nature, but a bit pessimistic helps me with my task list planning for the next day. Believe that single thing that things will be. When I notice that my task list is going to be filled with too many tasks for one day, I say to myself, well, I don't necessarily have time for that for this task, and perhaps it's the same thing with other tasks too. So with this approach, I'm deliberately cutting the number of tasks of my next day's list while increasing the likelihood of finishing the plan working on this. That is cool. Deliberately in planned way. Okay, I'm deliberately cutting number of tasks, right? Chance of if you decide, that is also an important point. You should not just put everything on this task. So that like you should have, if you know that okay, you know to there are a lot of, some all the tasks you listed are all necessary to do, but then and you cannot cut them off. Then you should shift them so that ultimately the point is whatever task you say that you are going to do, you should do it. That's the task that I get. That's the point. So if you decide to apply a previous strategy, just make sure to have some backup work ready in case of manage to clear your list before the work ends. For instance, right now, at the time of writing this paragraph, it seems that I'll be able to clear my task list for today well ahead of time. But since I still have some extra time left, I'll keep writing this report a little bit more. Fifth point is drinking water. So first point, let me revise them. First point, to get a great start, do exercise, do meditation, do reading, do writing, anything that you like. Second thing is to what was the second thing? To plan, great start, then plan. Third was not no distraction. That was third. Fourth was uh, checklist that you should able to make a checklist. I think these are the four. So now fifth one is drinking water. So drinking water has many health benefits, including making your skin look good, helping with your weight loss, and keeping your stress level down. But there's are some productivity benefits too. Productivity is rate which term are made. A study made by the University of East London found that drinking water improves your brain performance by 14%, and that's a good percentage. So that's okay. So let's drink some water. And currently, I've got 14% good mind increase in my mind. So, how much water should you drink on a daily basis? The recommendation varies, and clearly, this depends on the person. But what's important is that you can have a glass of water sitting on your desk, reminding you to take a sip every once in a while. Make a decision to drink more water starting today. Your body and brain will thank you for that. That was in a short lesson. So we are on 6, and if we talk about, I have done 47% of the book. Shit, 29 chapters. So it should be take me 29 minutes more to finish this book according to the people that I should be able to complete this. So okay, so today this is the lesson for today. Thank you guys. Hope you learned something.